Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm your instructor today and I will discuss the boiler water treatment. This topic is taken from STCW function 1, Marine Engineering at the operational level, competence, operation, surveillance, performance, assessment, and maintaining safety of propulsion plant and auxiliary machinery. KOP, which is knowledge, understanding, and proficiency. The efficient operation, surveillance, performance, assessment, and maintaining safety of propulsion plant and auxiliary machinery. We have here the learning outcome. At the end of this lesson, the students should be able to evaluate common methods of boiler feed and make-up water treatment, show how oxygen is eliminated in boilers, itemize the sources and types of contamination of boiler, feed, and make-up water, and explain the effects of these contaminations on the reserves of treatment chemicals. We have here the introduction. The boiler water treatment process consists of decontamination and adding suitable chemicals based on the test results. They are intended to control scale formation, corrosion, dissolve oxygen, foaming, neutralize acids, and blow down precipitated impurities settled at the bottom. To ensure its normal operation, boiler water is always tested and treated at regular intervals. All considerable issues found in test results are rectified by adding appropriate chemicals to the feed water of the boiler. We have here what are the types of boiler feed water treatment. We have external treatment and we have also internal treatment. So for the external treatment, we have here insoluble, soluble, and gaseous impurities. So for insoluble, we have here external treatment, settling, clarification, and filtration. For the soluble impurities, we have softening, demineralization, reverse osmosis or RO. For the gaseous impurities, gaseous impurities, we have oxygen and chloride. So to remove the oxygen, we have the aerator. To remove the chlorine, we have activated carbon. So these are the external water treatment. Now let us proceed to the internal water treatment. So we have here the internal method of boiler water treatment on ships. So internal treatments. So we have here the make-up water. So this system is safe or safety, reliable or reliability, efficient or efficiency, and longer life. So we have here, for example, as mentioned, the aerator is used to eliminate oxygen content of the boiler water. And we have also here the chemicals. So later on, we will see the chemicals. So it is fitted to the discharge of the main feed pump going to the boiler. And we have here the surface flow down here. Surface of your boiler water. So for example, the impurities is grease, oil. So you need to do is you have to surface flow down. And we have also here the bottom flow down. So the impurities are being precipitated or settled here at the bottom of the boiler. So by using the chemical, the solid impurities is precipitated, and then every time the engineer depends on the result of the what we call boiler water test. So the engineer will do the bottom blowdown. Next, we have here how does the aerator removes oxygen in boiler water on ships. A deaerator is a device that removes oxygen and other dissolved gases from liquids from water. Dissolved gases from liquids from liquids. So from water such as feed water or steam generating boilers, dissolved oxygen in feed water will cause serious corrosion. Remember, serious corrosion damage in a boiler by attaching to the walls of metal, piping, and other equipment and forming oxides or rust. So we have here the deaerator. So we have here spray deaerator type. So as you can see here, your steam is entering here, and you have the air vent here, and you have here the aerator. So as this deaerator, as this pump discharging feed water to the boiler, as you can see here, or it's being suctioned. So the oxygen will separate by the use of the aerator. The oxygen content of the water will separate by the use of the aerator to eliminate the oxygen content of the feed water before it filling up to the boiler. So here. Now we have here also, so I forgot the description here, I forgot to put. So this is also the aerator. So you can see here. So when the feed water is entering, so the air here is skipping going to atmosphere. So that is the function of the aerator. Next. So principles of operation of the aerator of marine boilers. The aeration relies on the principle that solubility of a gas in water decreases as the water temperature increases and approaches its boiling point. In the aerator, water is heated up to close to its boiling point with a minimum pressure drop and a minimum vent. The aeration is done by spraying water into a chamber to increase its surface area and may involve flow over multiple layers of trays. This scrubbing or stripping steam is fed into the bottom of the aeration section of the aerator. When steam contacts and feed water, it heats it up to its boiling point, and dissolved gases are released from the feed water and vented from the aerator through the vent. The treated water falls into storage tank below the aerator. So now, this is the system now, is spray type the aerator. So here, when the steam here is entering here to here. So boiler feed water here. There's a spray of boiler feed water. So as this boiler feed water so this aeration is done by spraying feed water into the chamber. So this one, and then to increase its surface area. So here. So here is the surface. And then, and many involved flow of multiple layers of trees. So stem is feed. So this one is stem. This scrub, when stem contacts with the feed water, so here, stem contacts to the feed water, it heats up its boiling point and dissolve the gases. So the gases will dissolve and release from the feed water vented from the aerator through the vent. So here. So the oxygen content of that feed water will release to the vent. So that is the system. So next, we have also here illustration showing also principles of operation. So this is vacuum type. This is vacuum type. So as you can see here, you have number one, feed water. So it's creating vacuum here, and the air is released to the atmosphere. So the pure water here without the oxygen content will flow here. So that is vacuum type. So as this one I already explained. So to recap, when this boiler feed water is spray here to your boiler, and your steam will also entering here, the oxygen content of your feed this boiler water will heat it up, and then the oxygen content will dissolve and will form into gases here and will release to vent. So that is spray type aerator. Next, we have here types of contamination in boiler water and feed water on ships. So we have gaseous, soluble, ionic, insoluble, non-ionic, and others. So we have here the problem cause. So if gaseous impurities dissolve oxygen, we have pitting corrosion. So it causes pitting corrosion to your boiler tube. So later on, you can see the pitting corrosion. So carbon dioxide, the problem cause is condensate corrosion. We have also insoluble ionic impurities. We have calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, chloride, sulfate, carbonate, bicarbonate, hydroxides, and silica. So calcium and magnesium, it can cause scaling. Sodium and potassium can cause corrosion. Chloride, sulfate can cause corrosion. Carbonates, bicarbonates, scaling, foaming, can cause scaling and foaming. Hydroxides can cause scaling and foaming. Silica can cause scaling and depositors. So we have here also insoluble non-ionic impurities. So we have here suspended solids or silt. So that's why it is called insoluble, because it is not dissolved to the boiler water. So problem cause is fouling. So your boiler tube will be black, will be fouled. So others, we have also impurities, which is oil and organic. So oil, you can control by what we call the surface blowdown. So problem cause is foaming and carryover. So what is carryover? This carryover will carry together with the steam. So it will flow together with the steam, that is carry over. Foaming, that is bubbles. Next, we have here effects and problems due to contaminated boiler feed water. So we have corrosion. So as you can see here on the right, we have corroded boiler tube. So one of the most common reasons for boiler corrosion remains the action of dissolved oxygen in makeup and feed water. So makeup, that is from the source where or from the tank and from your hydropower system, and then it will uh, uh, fill to the cascade tank, to the boiler. So corrosion leads to failure of machinery from inside, also reduces overall boiler efficiency. So that is a tremendous effect of the corrosion of the boiler tube. We have also here scale formation. So by the way, one of the reasons also of the corrosion of the boiler is low pH, lower pH. So lower pH boiler water is acidic boiler water. So acid can cause corrosion rapidly to the boiler tubes. We have here, by the way, lower pH is from the reading of 0 to 6 pH is a lower pH. So 7 is 7 to 11 is neutral. So that means it's stable, and 12 to 14 is what we call alkaline or high alkalinity. So alkaline can cause high alkalinity can cause scaling. So this is the example. So scale, this is the example. So scale formation. Scale formation or deposits in the boilers result from hardness contamination of water. So the water is hard. So that means there are a lot of impurities. That's why this is called hardness. So the primary minerals in the water that make the feed water hard are calcium. So it is containing calcium and magnesium. So this is the chemical symbol of calcium. So these minerals form a scale over the surface of piping, water heaters, and on everything it comes on in contact with hardness. Contamination of the feed water may also result from either deficient softener system and raw water in leakage of the condensate. So this is the example of fouling or scale formation. This is your boiler pipe, and as you can see here, there is just like a stone build up inside of the boiler. Instead of your, for example, your boiler tube has the nominal diameter of uh, 2 inches, for example, or 3 inches. So it will become now 0.0.5 inches. So it is fouling already. So one of the reason also that this scale formation will build up is your boiler feed water is alkaline or high alkalinity. So this can cause also fouling or scale formation. So that is the example. Next. So this kind of scale deposit act as insulators and lower the heat transfer rate. So this is true. Because as you can see, if this is rare metal and there is a fire outside here, or yes, fire outside here, so meaning water tube boiler, because the water inside and the fire is outside. So the gases of combustion is outside the tube, and what we call the water is inside the tube. So look at this. You can imagine if your water here to be boiled, and this is the condition of your boiler water, it's already a hard stone inside and a thick stone inside. So if you have heat here, you can hardly boil this water because of these insulators. This is called insulators. Unlike the bare metal here is you can easily heat up this water to boil to produce steam. So that is the result. So the insulating effect of the deposits also cause the boiler metal temperature to rise and lead to tube failure by overheating, of course. So if you, because you need more fuel to burn here, air and fuel to burn, and it will become overheated because you have to boil the water to produce steam, but you cannot boil, so your boiler will automatically, for example, if it is set to automatic, will automatically add more fuel to boil this water. So more, and it can lead to overheating. Large amounts of such deposits throughout the boiler would reduce the heat transfer enough to drop the overall boiler efficiency, of course. So efficiency meaning it is in relation to the use of fuel to the work done of that boiler. So that is efficiency. So if you burn a lot of fuel to boil that water, that is not fuel efficient. So this is the effect of the fuel efficient is you boil the water normally without any problem, and you have you consume less fuel. So that is fuel efficient. But now here in this condition, this is not fuel efficient. This is fuel inefficient because of this what we call the uh, scale formation inside of your boiler tube. So we have here the treatment, boiler water treatment methods. So oxygen scavengers to prevent corrosion. So when I was a chief engineer on board the ship, so I requested this chemical for our boiler. So oxygen scavengers to prevent corrosion. Corrosion of the boilers occurs when untreated feed water is used. The dissolved oxygen in the feed water reacts with the metal scales of the boiler to form oxides. This can be prevented by using oxygen scavengers, so these chemicals, so also known as oxygen absorbers. So that will remove or reduce the level of oxygen in the entire system. The most common use oxygen scavengers are activated charcoal and a mixture of iron powder with sodium chloride. So this one, this chemicals. So this chemicals is made by Unitor. So next, we have also here alkalinity builders. All industrial process work at an optional pH range, filling which appropriate result cannot be obtained. Most of the high pressure reactions need a high pH level to increase the pH level. Chemically modified substances called alkalinity builders are added to the boiler. Most industrial process use concentrated sodium hydroxide based on alkalinity builders, which are balanced with phosphate, chelans, carbonates, and certain polymers. So this alkalinity control I use also on board ship, alkalinity control, to maintain the alkalinity to normal level. So I use this one. So this is also made from Unitor or here non-plate. So we have also here scale and corrosion inhibitors, liquid rate. So I will use also this chemical when I was on board the ship. So one of the major issues that affect the operation of industrial boilers is also marine boilers. So it's an accumulation of salt deposits on the internal lining of the system. As a part of the equipment maintenance, scale and corrosion inhibitors are used. The common inhibitors are catalyzed sodium bisulfate, carbohydrazide, diethyl hydroxylamine, and cyclohexylamine. Oxygen scavengers also work well as scale and corrosion inhibitors. So I use also this one for my boiler before. So liquid rate is a liquid blend of alkaline compounds, scale and corrosion inhibitors, oxygen scavenger, and sludge conditioner. So this one I use for the boiler. So we have here sludge conditioner. So it's the same now. So if the boiler is not maintained properly, suspended particles tend to settle at the lining of the system if left untreated. So it's the same. It can drastically reduce the boiler efficiency. A sludge conditioner is often used to remove and clean the boilers. In some instances, it is also used to prevent and control scale formation. So liquid rate, that is the use of the liquid rate. So that is the use of the liquid rate. We have also here condensate treatment. Other chemicals in addition to the above and methods to treat feedwater, there are numerous other water treatment methods that are process-specific. Condensate line protection and multifunctional treatments are some of the important methods used in treating the boiler feedwater. So your condensate line is, of course, is flowing as the return from your consumer, or for example from your fuel oil heater, low boil heater, your fuel oil storage tank, and etc. So that return is called condensate water. So that is also treated with the condensate treatment. So for the recap, we have discussed the following: the common methods of boiler feed water and make-up water treatment. We discussed also how oxygen is eliminated in boilers, the sources and types of contamination of boiler feed and make-up water, and we explained the effects of this contamination in the research of the treatment chemicals. So what to do next meeting? Our activity next meeting. So we will have a short quiz for this given discussion. And we will have also a random oral recitation. And after that, we will discuss the following: the importance of controlling pH value of aqueous solution within the minimum corrosive range. So we will discuss also the importance of maintaining a gas-free condition in the water used to feed a steam boiler or to circulate an engine cooling system. The standard method of measuring metallic salt containing examples state the actual quantity of metallic salt presence in a specified quality of water. So that will be our activity next meeting. So this is the end of the discussion. Please click subscribe, and please click like and share. Write a comment below, and don't forget to click also notification bell. And thank you for watching, and see you on my next video.